Good afternoon, this is Lurking Lately. I'm going to continue our absolute beginner's guide to CK2. Again, if you're in chat and you have any questions, please chime in, or if you have any suggestions, please chime in as well. So when we last left off, we basically spent all the time distributing stuff in England, regrowing our army, kind of moving our capital and our duchies and whatnot. And so, looking at our army levies, our vassal levies, we're maxed out to where we're gonna be. So we're gonna go ahead, and as soon as these guys kind of march over into Scotland to fight, we are going to declare war on them, and we are going to conquer their land. So that's what we're gonna do. Basically, once you have a king title, anything in the kingdom, so where the Kingdom of England, is de jure a part of your land. So you don't have to fabricate any claims or anything like that. You'll just have to go to war with them, and they'll be your vassal. And they'll be an unloyal vassal, but that's what, So basically, last episode we talked about, passive vassal management. After this war, we're going to talk about active vassal management, which is going to involve a lot of plotting, and guardianships, and diplomacy, and murder. So, let's just let these guys march up a little bit so their army's away, and then we'll go ahead and declare war. Alright, so we'll keep going. Let these guys march up a little bit. And we're just kind of keeping an eye on these guys. We're going to see what they're going to do. Alright, I think now is as good of a time as any to declare war. So we're going to click on the top level guy here, which is this King Edwin of Mercia. And if you ever have a situation where you don't know who the top level guy is, you can just let's say you click on this guy and you want to declare war, but he's not the top level guy, so you just click on his liege up here. So we're going to declare war, and again, it's kind of important which ones you choose. Now each one will have like a tooltip on it, but we are going to say so no border disputes. We're going to do a de jure claim on Mercia. You'll see it actually highlights the land that we'll be able to take / vassalize. So this may take more than one war, but that's fine. And our council's okay with this. So let's send a declaration. Let's go to our military tab. We'll raise our vassal armies. Well, we'll raise our armies, our vassal armies. And I'm going to raise some vassal ships as well, because I don't want these guys to have to march through here and get attacked by the enemy armies. And I say we just kind of form up, I don't know, let's say in Norfolk, and then we'll kind of invade this way and kind of spread our way through. So this part of the job's a little bit tedious. You gotta like load all the men on the ships. It's not that bad since we have more ships than men, but later on you have to start moving, moving around men and ships and all that kind of stuff. But traveling by ship is faster, it's safer. So, and there will be less kind of this organization once we hand out more duchies, because basically then the Duke will raise all the vassal armies and whatnot. So I'm going to take all these ships. And send them to Norfolk. Send these guys to Norfolk. Now, just so you're aware, ships cost a lot of money to maintain, so it's not really your problem when you tell your vassals to raise ship levies. But if you're going to be moving around ships, just keep that in mind. You don't want to kind of break your economy. And so these ships are, I'm not going to mess around with them. It's not too far to walk. So I'm just going to delete them. Or disband them, I should say. And the rest of these guys, we're just going to say, march up to Norfolk. And just out of habit, right now, I'm merging armies on the same tile. It's not really necessary. There's not really enemy armies nearby. But it's kind of a good habit to do. Alright. So we've got our armies merged up. There's no real blockades or anything like that, so if you know you're not going to need the ships, just go ahead and dismiss them. It's very sad that we're like the best general around. Let's double check our minor titles, make sure we're not missing any. See here, I never handed out the commander titles. So let's go ahead and do that now. And hopefully there's someone better than us. Okay, so we got a 15 guy. And we'll just take a flank. And this guy will take a flank. Alright, so again, I'm not going to, well, I don't think I'm going to kind of attempt an assault. We're kind of just going to let this play out because I don't know when their army's going to come down. But what I will do is I'm just going to drop off a sieging unit and move on to the next one. And then kind of have them all kind of together in an area. So this one needs around 815 men to siege, so we'll just drop off 1,200. That works. Move on to Leicester. And again, these guys need like 500. We'll drop off like 1,000. Close enough. We might as well take this fight right here. Just kind of take care of them. We got a mayor here. I'm going to go ahead and ransom him right now, because I don't know how the end of the war is going to affect our ability to get money from him, and we're kind of low on cash. So let's keep dropping off. Like, we'll leave like a reserve of like 4,000, but the rest will kind of split off into sieging units. Alright, my mother wants a nickname. Sure, why not? We'll drop off just another 1,000 or so men here. And then we'll keep the bulk here. I could probably spread out a little bit thinner. But I saw that they had about like a 2K army, and I just don't want any trouble. So we're just gonna kind of speed along at a faster speed. Sure. Basically what I'm doing is when they offer these marriages, I just want to see who it is. Is it a family member, most importantly? Because I'd probably say no, because eventually we're going to go to war with Scotland. And then also, if it's just a courtier, just make sure they don't have any claims on our land. And we can talk about that later. So this will go much, much faster than the last war. I promise you that much. Last one was a bit of an overkill. Looks like our brother's having some problem with vassals. Alright, so it looks like his main army's coming back. I'm just going to slow it down a little bit so we can see where he's headed. We'll probably just move to intercept him. Alright, so he's moving into Chester. I'd say that's a good time for us to attack. And we'll chase this army down while the rest of these guys are sieging everything down. And then again, you know, because it isn't a matter of we have to, you know, hold the top level of everything, we're just going to fight until we get to 100 war score and call it a day. Another thing I should have done before I started this war was go ahead and carouse. We'll take care of that after the war. I just kind of want to get that Diplo ability up as soon as possible. Alright. So our brother's out there usurping titles of his vassals. Trying to centralize power a little bit. Great. We got a Earl. So let's see if he doesn't have enough. Yes, he does. Alright, let's take a look at our guy. What could we use to round up the most? Let's try managing the realm, because it looks like our wife is still... Well, she's almost of age. Yeah, let's pick the learning then. Let's see if we can maybe do that. Alright, so it looks like we got to 100%, so we're just going to offer peace and enforce demands. And so it looks like he still managed to hold on to a piece outside of our realm and, you know, kind of control it. So we'll just have to take that in another war. Okay, so this looks like our special event troops. And again, we're marching our men out before we disband, only because we don't want to disband in other people's land. You don't get... you end up losing a bunch of men, and that's it's not good. Okay, so now we've taken all this new land. Some of it went directly to us because it belonged to this guy, and he can't be independent and under us, so he chose to kind of just give it up to us. So we'll hand that away. And it looks like the Duchy Capital of Warwick. This is a huge duchy. Okay, so first thing we'll do is we'll give away... Well, okay. What's the best way to do this? We still have some room here in our vassal limit. So I'm going to give away Warwick to somebody, well, probably a family member, or someone who's content. So let's just take a look here. Again, we're going to filter, you know, on the custom, you know, in our realm, men who don't own land. And let's first look to see if we can find anybody in our bloodline here to give this to. Now this is kind of dangerous because, again, he might have some kind of claim. Actually, he won't, because he's not like a direct descendant of our father. So this is actually pretty safe. So we're going to give him, even though he's a hunchback, we're going to give Galfred this land right here. Now you'll see here he has, you know, guys already in place. So, you know, he'll have to work on converting them to the correct culture and whatnot. But we'll give it to Galfred here. And then hope he doesn't get overthrown because he's a little baby. And then we'll give Leicester to this guy. And then we'll give away Hereford to someone else. And again, because I'm kind of pushing to give the ducal title to, you know, my relative. You know, that's why I didn't pick this guy who's content down here. Again, I want to kind of fill as many duchies with my own family members as possible. Okay, so that's done. And now what are we going to do in the interim peacetime? Well, you know, the good news is you know, 3 of these 6 counties, they're controlled by Normans that we've installed, so they're going to be very happy with this, okay? He's kind of unhappy because he wants to be Duke, or our Demance is too big, vicious rumors, all that stuff, but that's fine. Like a 50 reputation's fine. What we want to worry about before we create the Duchy of Mercia and give that away, what we want to do is we want to deal with these Norwegians and Anglo-Saxons that hold the remaining 3 counties. Because again, they will not switch to English culture eventually. They're Norwegian, they'll try to make it Norwegian culture. So how are we going to do this? Well, one thing we can do is we can try to offer to be the guardian of the primary heir. Now, since the law of the land is primogeniture, we know it's going to be the firstborn son. Now, they don't like us very much, so he probably won't give us a chance. What about this guy? He's got all daughters, so, you know, we could try raising the oldest daughter, but if he has a son, that'll kind of throw our plans out of whack. How about this guy? Okay, so he's got a son. He kind of doesn't like us, but let's see. Huh, that's odd that his daughter's the heir as opposed to the son. Let's take a look as to why. Oh, it's cognatic primogeniture. I wonder why the son isn't the heir. Okay. Well, let's try to see if he'll give us guardianship of this child. I doubt it. Also, he's probably too young. He has to be, I think, like 6 or something like that to do that. So we'll leave him alone for now. For these other 2 guys, how should we handle them? One, we can kind of go into our intrigue tab and then go to my plots and see if there's a plot to like revoke their county. So I got a lot of plots to kill people. And then all of these are kind of grayed out, so we can't choose them, unfortunately. And it'll tell you, you know, why you can or cannot do something. Okay, so we can't do any kind of plot for it. What's the next thing we can possibly do? Well, another thing we can do is we can go into our personal focus. When can we change this? Not for another year. So how about this? First, we'll go ahead, we'll leave these guys alone for now. We won't worry about them. We'll go ahead and do our carousing, get that over with, and as soon as that's done, we'll switch to an intrigue focus and we'll start spying on people, hoping to catch them in a plot. Okay? Not sure why you can arrest him, but I'll leave him alone. So, we'll just wait for our guys to come back. I'm going to go ahead and go into my realm tree right now. So if you click on your portrait, you can go here to your realm tree. And you click this plus. And it basically organizes all your direct vassals from strongest to weakest. So this guy right here in Normandy, my relative that I installed, he's the strongest guy because Normandy is the most powerful duchy. He kind of represents like 17%. He has 17% of my strength. So let's. I guess we can't go carousing with a boy. So let's try going carousing with this guy. And I'm just choosing carousing because it's a fairly easy one to get done. And it'll give you a kind of this like a lifestyle trait of being a dedicated carouser, which will give you a +3 to your diplomacy skill. And having a good diplomacy skill never hurts. It makes other people like you more. They're more loyal. And you can have more vassals simultaneously. So. It also looks like we have enough money to create another duchy. So, let's just take a look at our titles here. We don't have a duchy for ourselves. I'm going to hold off on, even though this one will take care of a lot of vassals, we're still not over the limit. So I'm going to hold off on creating the Duchy of Mercia. And instead we'll create another one. So what are the ones that we have still to create? It looks like it's a bunch of two province duchies. So let's, oh no, it looks like Orkney can still be created. So let's do the Duchy of Orkney. That'll get rid of 3. And we'll give him the Duchy of Orkney. Okay, it looks like we still might have enough money to do one more title. So let's see what else we can do here. I don't know. Let's create the Duchy of Huis. Now, the Duchy Capital is here, so that's not the best thing. However, because we now have the Duchy of Huis, we have a casus belli to attack for this land right here, because, de jure it belongs into this duchy right here. So who are we going to give it to? Should we give the duchy to this guy? Or this girl? He likes this a little bit better. His stats aren't as good. Her stats are going to be better. So let's give it to her. So I guess now it's called the Duchy of Gloucester, now that it's English. Now hopefully even, she'll take it upon herself when she comes of age to just go ahead and take it herself. Because, her opponent isn't that much larger than her. But we'll have to see how that goes. So let's wait just a little bit longer. And we can finally get married. Prestige is always good, but gold's more useful. I'll take the gold. Alright, so it looks like there's some kind of event. Hopefully this guy's in love with his wife. That would be very useful. And hopefully she doesn't die from stress, but she's still young, so... Okay, so let's give ourselves a new ambition. What do we want? Do we want to groom an heir? Build a war chest, see the realm prosper, become exalted among men. Um, need 5,000 prestige. He's not that young. There's not that many chances for prestige. Let's, I mean, grooming an heir would pop out, you know, babies faster until you have a boy. And I don't have to worry about the realm being divided because we're primogeniture. I don't think I'm going to make Exalted Among Men, so I'm just going to pick Groom and Heir just for the extra fertility. And it looks like we can pick a new designated regent. So we'll go ahead, and who should we put as our designated regent? Someone who likes us with a high admin, or like a relative to us, so... Alright, the mayor looks like a pretty good candidate here. Let's pick the mayor. And let's set our crown focus. I guess I didn't go ahead and do that. Crown focus, it kind of tells you what it does. It's more likely to prosper and develop. So basically what I do with crown focus is, once I reach like level 1 prosperity here, then I'll go ahead and move to the next one over in my direct holdings, and until everyone's like level 1 prosperity. Then I'll go back to my capital, look for level 2, you know, and then so on until you get to level 3. And then it doesn't really matter. You know, usually disease will come and wipe out all the prosperity anyways, so... but yeah. So, let's just let this keep going. Yeah, I'm not gonna get my wife angry at me. You always want to keep your wife happy. She has a lot of plot power against you. Why does this guy fall in love with someone else? My gosh. And she's married to someone else. On the other hand, I don't want to necessarily become stressed. You know, stress wouldn't be such a big deal if I was a part of the Hermetic Society, but I'm not. And then I would have to like switch to like a family focus to remove stress, or hope that it just goes away. It's not good for your health. Alright, I'll find her before she leaves. Oh, that's good. Alright, so she rejected me, thankfully. Hopefully there's no more events regarding this baroness. Alright, so our first feast is underway. I don't know if this is based on your martial skill, these war games, or strategy games, or on what skill, or if it's based on just chance, but let's give it a shot. Let's play for money. Alright, we got 5 gold. Nice. We can appoint another commander. We'll go ahead and do that. That guy's a pretty good commander. So right now I can take Game Master. That'll give me Martial and 2 Diplomacy. Or I can go for the full 3. I do kind of like the Martial and Diplomacy. See, for skills, it kind of looks for round numbers. Otherwise it rounds down. And so having a 14, you know, being an 18, 14, that's actually pretty good. So I'll just take the Game Master trait. And that means I don't have to do any more feasts before I switch out my focus. So let's go back to the focus, and we'll say on December 11th of next year, we're going to switch out to Intrigue, and we're going to try to get rid of some of these vassals. Alright, let's create another duchy. Let's say the Duchy of Somerset, huh? And this is Duchy Capital. So we're going to give him the Duchy of Somerset. And again, I'm just doing this so we slowly lower our vassal limit. Now unfortunately, we have a bunch of like 2 county duchies, which is silly, but I'd rather just have them. You get some extra prestige for having vassal duchies, all that kind of stuff. So, okay, so I'm still all about Bonefeld. Great. Time to break things off with this Baroness here. You can't go around taking off your wife. Oh great, now I'm depressed. Unbelievable. So what we're also going to look at is right here, if you click on, like, you know, the capital of like a foreign nation, you can also see under here kind of their diplomatic status at a glance. So it actually looks like oops, I left a vassal fleet and a vassal army out there. Sorry about that. Okay, so it does look like we have a truce here. About truce breaking. You lose prestige for truce breaking, and it lowers the opinion of all of the religious ruler types of the people you're breaking a truce against. So what that basically means that if I broke this truce, I'd lose prestige, and every single Christian ruler would dislike me a little bit more. So that's not a good idea. But again, if we were next to a heathen religion and we had prestige to burn, it might not be a bad idea, especially against someone powerful, like, let's say, I don't know, the Seljuks or something like that, to win a war, and then as soon as you're ready to fight, even if they're not ready to fight, break the truce and fight again. Because it's only going to make, heathens angry at you. It won't make fellow co-religionists angry. So that's something to consider, but we're not going to do it because we don't want to anger our co-religionists. Or lose a prestige, for that matter. So we're going to keep letting this run. In December, we'll change focus, and we'll start spying on our vassals that we just conquered. Also, let's take a look if we can switch some laws around. We have too many opponents for that. I really want this imprisonment. I think that just as time goes on, we're going to gain more prestige, and our counselors are going to like us more, so I'm not going to waste the money to try to bribe these guys yet. But we're going to keep an eye on this. We're going to try to get imprisonment to be the ruler's kind of sole realm. It's the decision of the ruler. The council isn't involved. Alright, so these rebels in the French Revolt want to marry one of our courtiers. Yeah, what the heck, why not? There's a weak claim on Apulia. I'm not really concerned about that. So we're just letting time roll forward. Alright, do we have enough money for another duchy? Let's make the Duchy of Cornwall here. And we'll give this guy the Duchy of Cornwall. Alright. And now we'll just wait till December till we can switch our focus. Looks we can tech up. Let's take construction. The truth is, like, I have a feeling if you click on our holdings here, we got a whole bunch of stuff we got to build. So being able to build it cheaper in the near future will help a lot more. You'll also be able to build a better hospital in our capital, and that's all useful stuff. So let's take construction. Now, if I had already built up all of the kind of stuff in this holding and was waiting for new stuff, I may have went for a different one, like some kind of castle-focused one. But in this case, you know, I think it's better just to get the discount so that when we stop wasting money on creating duchies, we can go ahead and start building stuff for, you know, cheaper and faster. Okay, so we can change our focus now. So I'm going to go and change the focus to intrigue. It's going to increase our intrigue. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look at these guys and see kind of what the status is. That guy's still a 2-year-old. These two are my men. Let's, he's ambitious. He's ambitious too. So let's go ahead and let's spy on this guy first. Now you can only spy on a specific guy if you have the intrigue focus. It is useful. Now, it is my belief that because he is ambitious, he's probably going to be plotting something against me, which will give me an excuse to try to imprison him. And hopefully the imprisonment will fail, and he will rise in rebellion, and then we'll just come in and crush him. So it says, you know, you can give up and try on someone else, but no, let's keep looking around. If we get too many like events where nothing happens, then I'll give up and I'll move on to a different vassal. But right now, I want to focus on this guy. Look at that. Has there even been a crusade yet? No, it hasn't even been a crusade, but I guess maybe the Byzantines have taken enough land that it's threatened the Muslims, so the age of crusades is upon us. Well, this is actually pretty cool. So hopefully during this, you know, during this kind of intro guide, there will be a crusade called, and we will definitely go and fight in it, despite having not a lot of men. The reason being, you know, one, just for setting foot in the lands that the Crusades called on, you get a Crusader modifier to your traits. So it's like +3 martial, and you get some opinion bonus with other Crusaders. And then the second is that with some of these events, if you besiege certain castles, okay, there are events that pop up where you can get certain Christian artifacts that are insanely overpowered. Like the Spear of Longinus and you know, the Holy Grail and all that kind of stuff. Now that's going to be risky because there is a chance, you know, because we do have a small army. We're not France. We're not the Holy Roman Empire. There is a chance that, you know, the Muslims will come in and kick our butt. But I think it's a chance worth taking. So hopefully the Pope will call some kind of crusade soon. All right, let's keep spying on him just one more time, see if anything's up. If not, we can always spy on somebody else. And then we'll just kind of keep an eye out, so we have some time before the truce ends. So right now, again, like, you know, we probably should be looking at other options for expansion. You know, we're almost fully, you know, our armies are almost fully back. But since this is kind of a beginner's guide, I kind of want to, do stuff like show you how to spy on your own courtiers and force them to revolt and that kind of stuff. So we're just gonna let it stream along. All right. See if I can make a friend here. All right. So again, it looks like we have. I wasn't paying attention on the money front. We can create another duchy. Let's create the Duchy of... see, we're not going to do the Duchy of Man, because it's like a single county duchy, and that's silly. But we can do like this one. Let's do the Duchy of Galloway. That'll give us also a claim on Scottish lands, give us a reason to fight them. Because, well, actually it's the Scottish revolts. So we could attack this guy in the Scottish revolt. It looks like he's a, he's got his hands full fighting in this rebellion. It's been my and since he's weaker than like full Scotland, it's useful. The other thing is that, assuming we do win the war, it doesn't count as a truce against the King of Scotland. So even if he gets defeated by the King of Scotland, it won't be like a truce against him. It's a truce against this individual character right here. It's been my experience that whenever there's a revolt and you attack the revolters, they usually always surrender to their liege and then the war is nullified. But, just for the sake of argument, let's go ahead and try to attack him, right? So we've got a de jure claim on Clydesdale. Okay, so the council is against it. Oh boy. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. Okay, so who's against it? So not Herbert or Duke Richard. Let's talk about bribing our council. The mayor would be cheapest to bribe because he's a mayor. The cost of bribing goes up with each rank, so bribing an emperor is far more expensive than bribing a mayor or a bishop. Likewise, a courtier is even cheaper to bribe. So let's go ahead and see if we can buy a favor from him. Okay, I don't want to do that. What I want to do is... Okay, so we're going to save up some money until we get to 179. We're going to buy a favor from this guy. I actually don't think rank matters when you're buying favors. Let's check just to make sure. So this guy's a duke. Let's say we want to buy one from him. See, it doesn't go up by rank. See that? So yes, let's save up, buy a favor from the mayor. And then, once we have the favor, we'll call it in. That means he has to vote with us on a bunch of stuff. So maybe we'll be able to pass a law and, attack these rebels here. Okay, so council. This guy, we're going to buy a favor. Excellent. So let's call in this favor and have him, we're going to call in council support. So for 36 months, this guy's going to vote with us, okay? So first, let's check out our laws. And we'll go to our realm laws, and we'll see what we can pass here. See, right now, we would probably be able to pass religious revocation. That's a good one to have. Unfortunately, we don't have the tech for, illegal inheritance. That's one we want to pass quickly. But let's go to the council laws. Okay, so there's still too many opponents of that. Still too many opponents for that. Okay, I guess we can't do much with that for now. I'm guessing we can probably go to war with this guy. Let's check it out. Yep. So now, and then one of these guys flipped over too, so there you go. Alright, let's go to war over Clydesdale. My guess is that as soon as we march our armies over, they're gonna surrender to their liege, but hopefully we can siege them out real quick and take the land before that happens. There's also a de jure claim on Cumberland. Someone must have it, but yeah, so we'll just take the Clydesdale one. Now, you can always do like border disputes and stuff, but that costs, piety or gold or prestige. But like the claims, they don't. So let's do a de jure claim on Clydesdale. It'll also make the Duke happier because we pressed a claim for him, and you'll see all the kind of events and whatnot here. You can pause it if you'd like. So we're gonna declare war while we wait. I'm gonna raise up the armies. Oops. We'll raise up the vassal fleets. And you know what? I'm gonna raise up my fleets as well. And we'll see if we can't get all these guys over here to that one province over there, Tareq. Now, I know that last time we fought, I said, hey, let's not... okay, you see, because this guy is a duchy, we no longer have all these guys popping up. It's all kind of concentrated, so that's useful. This one, we are going to rush assaults, because I want to try to get as high of a war score so that he'll surrender the land as possible before he has a chance to surrender to his liege, and thus invalidate the war. What I'm doing now is I'm just kind of merging the fleets together before I load the men on, because this game's kind of silly in that even if there's enough ships there, it doesn't count because, there needs to be, like, this number, altogether must be bigger than this number together, if that makes any sense. Another kind of pro tip here, if you hold Alt, you'll automatically select a naval unit, because I know that sometimes it gets kind of wonky as to what it'll select, and it can just drive you absolutely crazy. So I'm just loading these guys up. For the rest of these guys, I'm going to actually kind of like march them towards Middlesex. We don't have quite enough boats, but once these guys drop off their passengers, I'm going to send them to Middlesex to pick up the kind of the remainder and the bulk of the army. Alright, we've got more than enough men. Let's go ahead. Look at that. Look at these generals, man. 24. Okay, the rest aren't that great, but... so we'll just march in here now. We'll take the fight. And we'll also start sieging while we wait for the bulk of our armies to come. And then we'll drop off the remaining armies. Aha. Well, that explains the mystery. I totally forgot we have holdings in France. Probably be useful in a fight. I'll just disband this fleet, because I don't think we're going to need it anymore. And we'll sail these guys up here. Disband this fleet. We'll break off like one ship here. And just disband the rest. This is me just kind of being a good king. It'll cost our vassals less. Okay, so we can start a vicious rumor about the guy. But there's a chance he'll find out, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to try something real. And if I don't get anything by the next kind of pop-up, I'll move on to the other vassal. Because he's probably clean. Alright, for some reason my wife was an Amalfi. We can do a non-aggression. Yeah, why not? I have no reason to get into a fight with a bunch of Italian merchants. Alright, so once these last guys march over, we're just going to start assaulting stuff and try to just bump up war score as quick as possible. We'll just wait for our morale to tick up to 100%. The reason why it's low is because we had all these guys coming off of boats. Alright, so we got the County of Maine. Let's give that away. I don't think I have any more relatives to give land to. So, let's just give it to the best guy for the job, who's not ambitious. We'll leave the content guys just in case we need them for something else. So, congratulations. You are the new Count of Maine. That was our Spymaster. So, let's go ahead and make this guy our Spymaster. Again, I could probably take someone who likes us, who's more likely to be a loyalist. But I'm also kind of keen on getting tech as soon as possible. There's like a 20% chance he'll be a loyalist. Let's see what he's like. Nope, he's just a pragmatist. Oh well. Alright, so let's keep an eye on this siege here. As soon as we get full morale, we're going to assault. And we'll assault again. And we will assault again. Alright, so we're at 30%. Let's keep just sieging down land, and hopefully he will see that he should give us this piece of land. Okay. So we're going to focus. That one didn't seem like it was panning out in terms of spying on him, so let's spy on this guy. He's also ambitious, so let's spy on him. See what he's up to. Now, the one problem is I'm burning through the event troops doing this, but I feel like I'm on the clock because this guy can just surrender to his liege. And we're kind of getting to the point soon where we're not going to really worry. I don't know if that's a good way of putting it. We're not going to, we're going to be raising enough levies that we're not going to need to rely on those event troops. I mean, it's always good to have event troops, but they won't be as integral. Alright, looks like maybe one more siege and he'll surrender. Alright, so this guy was telling lies about me. So I'm going to publicly denounce him for doing that, okay? And that's going to give us a reason to imprison him. Now, my council's all for it, because my council are all Normans, and that guy is a Anglo-Saxon, so they're not going to like him very much. But let's wait till this war's over, and then we'll march our men down to Shrewsbury, and we will see if he's going to revolt or not. But let's just end this war real quick. Alright, let's risk the gold. Alright, so it looks like we need one more, because he doesn't have any like units to fight. We need one more kind of victory, so for him to surrender. Alright, we're at 100. Now we just gotta offer peace. Great. So we've got a little piece of extra land. Now I'm going to take this army, and I'm going to march it down to Shrewsbury. And we're going to go ahead and try to arrest him. Now, best case scenario, again, is that we fail to arrest him. We have a 50% shot, so hopefully we do not succeed. Alright, we did succeed. Alright, so, well, I mean, we can't revoke the title because, it'll be considered tyranny. And we don't have a good reason for it. So let's just go ahead and ransom him for money. He can't afford the money. Okay, so for some reason his daughter is the heir to Shrewsbury. Maybe we can force... she's already too old to guardian. What if we plotted to kill his daughter? What if we plotted to kill his daughter and yeah, let's... Oh, she's got high intrigue though. She'll be hard to kill. Well, let's keep him in prison. We'll hope... Again, I don't know why she is the heir and not his son. I got an idea. Okay, so let's say we're gonna become the guardian. So we can't force him to do that because he's in prison. Let's keep him in prison. Hopefully we can squeeze some gold out of him. In the meantime, let's go spy on this guy. Maybe we'll catch him doing something. So we'll stop spying on this guy. We'll wait for a little event pop-up to happen. In the meantime, I'll go ahead and just get rid of all my levies. And I guess there wasn't an event, so we'll go ahead and spy on this guy. Alright, so we can revoke the Petty Kingdom of Mercia's title. Absolutely. And get a backup title just in case. Alright. And again, so if you're a duke, you can have an unlimited amount of duchies. You can have like 60 duchies and no one will care. As a king, you can only have 2 before your vassals start disliking you for it. And in fact, if you're doing an elective monarchy, you should only have 1. But because I didn't create any duchies here for myself, we're not over the limit, so we can hold on to this. And the reason why I'm not giving it away is I'd rather purposely mess around with these guys before, and install the guys I do like before I hand it off to this 11-year-old boy. So let's go ahead and create some more duchies. I don't think there's that many left. So there's the 2 that are in Ireland. We're not doing Man. Let's do Sawyer. We'll give it to this guy. Alright, and so the more duchies you have, the more commanders you can kind of hire and run. Where are we at now? We're going to spy on this guy in Lincoln, see what's going on. The longer you kind of have armies up raised, you'll see that you get a negative opinion modifier with all of your vassals, because they don't like you killing off their men and wasting their money on one of your wars. So that'll slowly tick down. We'll wait for our army levies to populate back up, and then we'll see kind of what pops up. We'll also consider possibly like inviting people into our court to get claims on areas and whatnot, but we'll see how that all goes. Well, that's not good. So I'm not going to mess around with my vassals too much. I kind of want them to like me. Okay, here we go. Let's look for something real. Let's also look in our prison, see if anyone can afford to make... Alright, so at least we got some money out of the Earl of Shrewsbury. He's going to like us less, so we'll go back to spying on him in a second. Okay, so the remaining two duchies are, we're not doing the Isle of Man, so I guess I'll create a Duchy of Essex, but I won't create the other one. Because then I'll be over my duchy limit and guys will like me less. So this will just give me some extra prestige every turn. Let's let this run forward just a little bit. Keep ransoming people off. Okay, so while we wait, let's talk about buildings and holdings. So I've held off on it for now, until now, because we were busy wasting all our money creating these duchies so we could lower our total number of vassals. Now that we're kind of getting there, we should talk about it. So you can actually, like, in any of your lands, you can go ahead and pay to improve holdings for other people, for your like lower level vassals, like your mayors and your bishops, or for other dukes. It doesn't really matter. Now, unless you've got money to burn, and I've never been in this position, I wouldn't do that. Well, I would for people under you, under certain circumstances, like your mayors and whatnot, and your bishops. But other than that, I wouldn't do that. There's other situations where it is useful to help develop your vassals' lands. Let's look into government types. Okay, so here are all the tribals, right? Now, if we were to conquer, let's say, this guy here, this high chieftain of whatever this is, okay? He would be our vassal, but because he's a different government type than us, he's a tribal and not a feudal lord, he would raise next to no army for us, and he would raise very little in taxes. So we would want to raise him up to a feudal lord as soon as possible. And luckily, if they were directly under us, okay, what we could do is, well, we can't really do it because he's a different, well, here we go. We could click on, his county, wherever his capital is, and we can keep building up this hill fort until it becomes a stone hill fort. And then once it becomes a stone hill fort, it's technically a castle, and then he will automatically, like, switch to a feudal leader. So that's one time that you would want to build, waste your money building in holdings for your vassal. The other is for, bishoprics and the cities. Now you'll see here, once you have a certain amount of money and a certain amount of tech, you can build universities. Universities give you, a ticking small amount of, economic technology points, but it also increases technology spread rate. So whenever we're clicking on this technology button here, it's raising the relevant tech rank, but only in our capital. And then it slowly filters out to all the adjacent provinces, okay? And when I say slowly, I mean really slowly, okay? Now, one way you can speed it up is in your subholdings of your land, and you want your tech to spread to your entire nation, but you're most concerned with it spreading to all your direct holdings, because then you can build more stuff, which will make you more powerful relative to your vassals. So one way to do that is to go build a university in your capital, or if you have multiple cities, you can build multiple universities, and that'll just make stuff spread out faster, okay? The other thing is that for bishoprics, you can build at a certain tech level monastic schools, which increase spread rate a little bit less. They provide culture points and some piety and all that kind of stuff. So that's another time that you want to do it. And again, if you have a ton of money and you're all built out and you have nothing to spend it on, you can maybe, in a sub-barony, help, build up their holdings, okay? But since, money's tight, we don't have a lot of stuffs, per se, we're going to go ahead into our capital, holding right here, Westminster, and we're going to talk about what we want to upgrade. Now, the one thing you always want to upgrade is castle towns and castle walls, okay? Castle towns will give you more direct tax income. Castle walls they'll give you a slight, increased attacks income. It'll increase your levy size. And your land will, your holding will be harder to besiege. More importantly, though, it'll open up the next level of castle town that you can build, so you can get more taxes from your, castle top level holding. So let's build castle walls in our capital. And this takes time, obviously. So let's see what else we can build in our neighboring area. So again, castle town, because we don't have castle walls too, so let's build castle walls here as well. And that'll burn through our money while we wait. And again, if I don't catch any, this guy doing anything, we'll switch back to the guy that I just ransomed, because he's probably up to no good. I'm tired of all these pop-ups, so let's go to our council and see if we can't have like a. We do have a court tutor. I guess I automatically interact with these prisoners or something. I could probably release them, but I'll hold on to them. There's no harm in that. Alright, so unfortunately when we gave our physician a bunch of money, it was bust, but these are the risks you take. Alright, so we don't have the tech to raise castle walls. Castle towns are too expensive, so maybe we'll save up for the castle town here. Let's spy just a little bit longer on this guy. I mean, he certainly doesn't like us. So apparently, my brother died, and his son took over. So, since we don't have a son of our own yet. Okay. So, for the advisor position, we might as well give it to this guy. I'd prefer a loyalist, so he can pass more laws, but this guy's will be less likely to cause trouble. He's also a powerful vassal. Let's just make him happy. He's a relative too. Alright, holy orders are starting to form up. Get 290 to build that castle town. Alright, so because we haven't been able to have a kid, everyone thinks I'm impotent. That's not good. Alright, so yeah, so let's give up spying on him. Just make sure. And let's go back to spying on this Earl of Shrewsbury. We'll build a little castle town here. And it's all about kind of like building, like, okay, so let's talk about holding stuff, especially in castles. So the reason why I say build castle towns and castle walls early is because they increase money. The rest of these guys all kind of give bonuses to how many men you can raise, or ships, or like a percentage bonus. Eventually we'll be able to build training grounds, which give kind of a morale bonus. So it's men or it's money, and you need the money to fund the men and to fund further constructions. So that's why I'm focusing on that. Alright, finally. So, our wife's pregnant. Hopefully, he'll be great like his mother in terms of genetics. We're starting to get older, too, so it's... I wouldn't mind if it would be a boy. Alright, so let's keep spying on this guy. Oh, another thing that we can do while we wait in peace is I can go on that pilgrimage, which I was asked to do. Totally forgot to do that. Okay, so we can lose some piety, improve relations with our wife. There's a chance we'll get lustful, or we can get chaste. Since we're a primogeniture... Okay, so the good and the bad. Since we're a primogeniture, it doesn't matter how many kids we have, and, you know, lustful does provide additional fertility. That's good. Unfortunately, there are events like where you can cheat on your wife, and you can choose whether or not to do that. As a lustful guy, you don't have that option because you're lustful. It also kind of hurts in our society's standing. So I'm gonna say no. Let's not do that. So she says that she can be a better steward than our current steward. She is not, though. Also, okay, so we can rank up in our society. Let's go ahead and do that. But my wife's pregnant. I guess once the event chain starts, it can't stop. Alright, so let's take a look at what our skills are here. Okay, so we can give spiritual guidance. One thing we could possibly do is take away our wife's gluttony penalty, because we're not gluttonous ourselves. But nah, we'll hold off on that. Let's go ahead and go on a pilgrimage. Let's go to Jerusalem. Let's go to the Holy Land. Dispatch some maids for our wife. For a little bit of piety, I'm certainly not going to risk getting sick. Well, we're already depressed, so there's no real problem with thinking about things. Yeah, look, we got the trait of poet. That's pretty good. Alright, so we received some kind of duchy or some nonsense like that. Let's see what we got here. Duchy of Galloway. So, looks like the guy in Galloway died. Let's load filters again for men. And we don't have any family members to give land to. So let's just give it to the best steward who's not ambitious. But this time we can give it to a guy who's content. And we're going to grant him the Duchy of Galloway. Okay, let's continue on our pilgrimage. Yay, we made it to Jerusalem. want. Intrigue wouldn't be bad. And learning wouldn't be bad either, but there's less of a chance. Well, let's just give it a shot. Alright. So it looks like we can raise tech level again. Let's see what we got here. Let's raise legalism so we can get regulated inheritance so that lands don't pass from our realms. And let's go to realm laws. And man, why are all these guys against this stuff? Well, I guess we just gotta start bribing people, because this is actually a very important well, we're not at risk of... Yeah, so we are... Okay. So, I say we start bribing people for favors. Let's look at our council. And we'll start with these two mayors. And this guy, our court chaplain. Does the court chaplain get to vote? I think so. So let's buy a favor from him. It's only 80 gold. And again, I'm just looking for the guys who are like the lowest rank, so anybody but this guy. So I'll go buy a favor from this guy. That's 133. It's expensive, but we gotta get this stuff done. I suppose I could always just fire all these guys and replace them, but alright, so it looks like one of these guys rejected my offer. How much would it be to buy a favor from this guy? $136. Well, we've got favors with 2 counselors. And we need... I believe a tie goes to us. So let's test out that theory. Let's call in council support for this guy. And call in council support for this guy. Just give it a data cycle. And now it's 3 on 3. So hopefully it'll pass. If not, oh, look at that! And our son is genius. Excellent. Let's call, yeah, sure. Oswald is a good name. And then our daughter is strong. It's too bad the son couldn't get both traits, but genius is what we were looking for. This is excellent. So, let's start messing with our son early on. See right here, he's already straight 5s. So let's give him an educational focus. Now, genius... Okay, so the reason why you usually go thrift for children in general is because they might get curious, and curious could turn into shrewd. Shrewd is like a lesser form of genius. I think it's like +2 across the board. But you can't get shrewd if you're already genius. So we're going to put him on duty. Now, he may get stressed, but he also might get like diligent, which would be excellent because that's another +1 across the board. So let's focus him on duty. Okay. And then let's also just assign ourselves as a guardian right away. We want as much of our influence, on his development as possible. And then the daughter, sure. Let's give her. So she's already strong. Let's teach her humility, I guess. Let's teach her humility. And we'll be her guardian as well. Now we might switch her out, like this guy right here. When his, oh, look at that. Let's see if we can become his guardian. Yeah, he doesn't like us enough. Okay, so good news is we have an heir. We'll see if this law passes. Oh, we gotta baptize this kid. And I wasn't, so we gotta get to intrigue. We gotta borrow some money, and we're gonna have the Pope baptize him. And who's gonna be his godfather? We've got a count, a mayor, count, and a countess. Yeah, let's give it to this guy. Who cares? He's a family. He's a relative. And our son was baptized by the Pope, which means the Pope will like him more, although who knows if the Pope will be alive. Excellent. So if it's 3-on-3, they do approve the law. That's wonderful. So now we don't have to worry about lands passing from our realm. So we still got this warning. I don't know why, though. And why are you independent here? Oh, I see. Because somehow you managed to get this land. Okay. Now, you see, one of the problems with primogeniture, and you kind of just have to deal with it, but you see here, this guy, he must have married into this family, and somehow inherited it, or been the son of somebody, something like that. So, you know, all your pleasingly divided up duchies and power bases, that, you know, all that work that we did in the last episode to try to split up the land as much as possible that wasn't ours, it'll slowly start to kind of reconstitute itself into major blobs under one dude. And there's really nothing you can do about that, aside from, you know, occasionally when they get too powerful, you know, spy on them, or wait for them to press some kind of demand and revolt, and then you can start, you know, murdering your way through. Otherwise, you can spend this entire game just, you know, managing vassals, and that's not too much fun. Let's keep going. So let's take a look here at our son. He was baptized by the Pope, so he's always going to get this permanent bonus here, which is great. So what's the next thing we can do? We can also pass, again, because we have all this support, we can try to pass, so we can pass the imprisonment or the revocation of titles. I'm going to take title revocation first, because we can always bribe people to possibly go ahead with an imprisonment, but the ability to revoke titles is far too important. So let's, while we've got our favors owed to us, let's pass title revocation back so that we control it. Okay, and then that should be the last thing we can pass for a while. Alright, well that was pretty good though. We're going to want to get late... I mean, it's less important because we already are a primogeniture system, but we're going to want to get, you know, to revoke title, then late administration. We're going to want the right to imprison people, and then we'll leave war declaration with the council. So that's kind of next steps. I think that I'm going to put a pin in it right here, just so I can edit it down. I think that, you know, kind of the videos that I make are way too long for YouTube. So we're going to stop here. I hope this episode was helpful. We actually didn't do much in the way of being successfully spying on people, but, you know, kind of to limit their power. But we're going to try again tomorrow. We'll see how successful that is. But other than that, hope you're doing well, and have yourself a wonderful day.